Hello, my dear children. In the last class, we learned that Vanda Petronsky had won the drawing contest conducted for girls, but she wasn't there to receive the applause that was due to her. Miss Mason, their class teacher, had read a letter to the class from Vanda's father. He had said that they were going to the big city where they would not have to hear about their funny names. Maddie was full of deep regret and decided to find out Vanda at Boggins Heights. Let us continue reading the text. When the school was dismissed in the afternoon, Peggy said with pretended casualness, "Hey, let us go and see if that kid has left town or not." So Peggy had the same idea. Maddie glowed. Peg was really all right. The two girls hurried out of the building, up the street toward Boggins Heights. The part of town that wore such a forbidding air on this kind of a November afternoon, drizzly, damp, and dismal. Drizzly means it was still raining lightly. Damp and dismal means wet and sad, here expressing a state of hopelessness. "Well, at least," said Peggy gruffly. Gruffly means with an unfriendly voice. "I never did call her a foreigner or make fun of her name. I never thought she had the sense to know we were making fun of her anyway. I thought she was too dumb. And gee, look how she can draw." Gee is a word used to show surprise. Maddie could say nothing. All she hoped was that they would find Vanda. She wanted to tell her that they were sorry they had picked on her and how wonderful the whole school thought she was, and please not to move away and everybody would be nice. She and Peggy would fight anybody who was not nice. The two girls hurried on. They hoped to get to the top of the hill before dark. "I think that is where the Petronskys live," said Maddie, pointing to a little white house. Wisps of old grass stuck up here and there along the pathway like thin kittens. Wisp means small, thin pieces of grass. The house and its sparse little yard looked shabby but clean. It reminded Maddie of Vanda's one dress, her faded blue cotton dress, shabby but clean. There was not a sign of life about the house. Peggy knocked firmly on the door, but there was no answer. She and Maddie went around to the backyard and knocked there. Still, there was no answer. There was no doubt about it. The Petronskys were gone. How could they ever make amends? Make amends means to show that one is sorry by doing something good. They turned slowly and made their way back down the hill. "Well, anyway," said Peggy, "she has gone now. So what can we do? Besides, when I was asking her about all her dresses, she probably was getting good ideas for her drawings. She might not even have won the contest otherwise." Maddie turned this idea carefully over in her head, for if there were anything in it, she would not have to feel so badly. But that night she could not get to sleep. She thought about Vanda and her faded blue dress and the little house she had lived in. And she thought of the glowing picture those 100 dresses made, all lined up in the classroom. At last Maddie sat up in bed and pressed her forehead tight in her hands and really thought. This was the hardest thinking she had ever done. After a long, long time, she reached an important conclusion. She was never going to stand by and say nothing again. if she ever heard anybody picking on someone because they were funny looking or because they had strange names, she would speak up, even if it meant losing Peggy's friendship. Picking on someone means treating someone unkindly. She had no way of making things right with Vanda, but from now on, she would never make anybody else that unhappy again. Okay, now try to answer these questions. What excuses does Peggy think up for her behavior? Why? What are Maddie's thoughts as they go to Boggins Heights? Why does Vanda's house remind Maddie of Vanda's blue dress? What does Maddie think hard about? What important decision does she come to? Okay, let us continue reading. On Saturday, Maddie spent the afternoon with Peggy. They were writing a letter to Vanda Petronsky. It was just a friendly letter telling about the contest and telling Vanda she had won. They told her how pretty her drawings were, and they asked her if she liked where she was living and if she liked her new teacher. They had meant to say they were sorry, but it ended up with their just writing a friendly letter, the kind they would have written to any good friend, and they signed it with lots of love. They mailed the letter to Boggins Heights, writing, "Please forward" on the envelope. Days passed and there was no answer. But the letter did not come back, so maybe Vanda had received it. Perhaps she was so hurt and angry she was not going to answer. You could not blame her. Weeks went by, and still Vanda did not answer. Peggy had begun to forget the whole business, and Maddie put herself to sleep at night making speeches about Vanda, defending her from great crowds of girls who were trying to tease her with, "How many dresses have you got?" And before Vanda could press her lips together in a tight line, the way she did before answering, Maddie would cry out, "Stop!" Then everybody would feel ashamed the way she used to feel. Now it was Christmas time, and there was snow on the ground. Christmas bells and a small tree decorated the classroom. On the last day of school before the holidays, the teacher showed the class a letter she had received that morning. You remember Vanda Petronsky, the gifted little artist who won the drawing contest? Well, she has written me, and I am glad to know where she lives because now I can send her medal. I want to read a letter to you. The class sat up with a sudden interest and listened intently. Dear Miss Mason, how are you and room 13? Please tell the girls they can keep those 100 dresses because in my new house I have 100 new ones all lined up in my closet. I would like that girl Peggy to have the drawing of the green dress with the red trimming, and her friend Maddie to have the blue one. For Christmas, I miss that school, and my new teacher does not equalize with you. Merry Christmas to you and everybody. Yours truly, Vanda Petronsky. Okay, from this we can understand that Peggy and Maddie meant to ask forgiveness for their rude and mean behavior by writing a letter. And they wrote a letter and waited long for the reply. After a few months, they got the reply addressed to Miss Mason. She asked Miss Mason to give the drawing of the green dress to Peggy and the blue one to Maddie. She told her that she had joined a new school but missed her old school and her teacher. Okay, let us continue reading. On the way home from school, Maddie and Peggy held their drawings very carefully. All the houses had wreaths and holly in the windows. Wreaths means flowers and leaves arranged in a circle. And holly is a bush with shiny leaves and bright red berries. Outside the grocery store, hundreds of Christmas trees were stacked. Stacked means arranged neatly in a pile. And in the window, candy peppermint sticks and cornucopias of shiny transparent paper were strung. The air smelled like Christmas, and light shining everywhere reflected different colors on the snow. Boys, said Peggy, this shows she really likes us. It shows she got our letter, and this is her way of saying that everything is all right. And that is that. I hope so, said Maddie sadly. She felt sad because she knew she would never see the little tight-lipped Polish girl again and couldn't ever really make things right between them. She went home and she pinned her drawing over a torn place in the pink flowered wallpaper in the bedroom. The shabby room came alive from the brilliancy of the colors. Maddie sat down on her bed and looked at the drawing. She had stood by and said nothing, but Vanda had been nice to her anyway. Tears blurred her eyes, that is, she couldn't see clearly, and she gazed for a long time at the picture. Then hastily means quickly, she rubbed her eyes and studied it intently. The colors in the dress were so vivid that she had scarcely noticed the face and head of the drawing. But it looked like her. Maddie, it really looked like her own mouth. Why, it really looked like her own self. Vanda had really drawn this for her. Excitedly, she ran over to Peggy's. Peg, she said, let me see your picture. What is the matter? Asked Peggy, as they clattered up to her room where Vanda's drawing was lying face down on the bed. Maddie carefully raised it. Look, she drew you. That is you, she exclaimed, and the head and face of this picture did look like Peggy. What did I say? Said Peggy. She must have really liked us anyway. Yes, she must have, agreed Maddie, and she blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Vanda standing alone in that sunny spot in the schoolyard, looking stolidly. Stolidly means not showing any feeling. Over at the group of laughing girls after she had walked off, after she had said, sure, 100 of them, all lined up. So both Maddie and Peggy carried their drawings home very carefully. Maddie put it on the wall of their bedroom. She looked at it a long time, and tears came in her eyes. She could see her face in that dress. She ran over to Peggy's home, and they both looked at the green dress with red trimming so that they could see Peggy's face in it. Maddie started to cry, remembering all the insulting statements she passed for Vanda. But Peggy consoled her, saying that Vanda liked them. Maddie agreed and blinked away the tears that came every time she thought of Vanda Petronsky. Okay, now try to answer these questions. What did the girls write to Vanda? Did they get a reply? Who was more anxious for a reply? Peggy or Maddie? How do you know? How did the girls know that Vanda liked them even though they had teased her? Hope you have understood. Okay, now try to answer the questions given at the end of the textbook. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.